Expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station or iHeart Media.
From the fast action of the trading pit to the power brokers making the headlines, you'll hear it all on the Traders Network Show with your host, Michael Yorba. All right. Michael interviews the front page titans about the latest in trading tools and market trends in stocks, commodities, bonds, forex, and derivatives. The Traders Network helps you stay ahead of the curve and delivers tomorrow's trade today. Now, here's your host, Michael Yorba.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. Broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media studios and worldwide through yorbamedia.com. I'm joined on the show with Robert Herzog, CEO, eCaring Inc. and eCaring.com. Robert, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, my pleasure. You know, you've got a lot of experience in your industry sector with several companies, including J.P. Morgan and things of that nature. I just want to back up a little bit and let you introduce yourself to the audience, and we'll get right into what eCaring does.
That's very nice of you. Well, I didn't start out life in healthcare, I can say that. I really, for many years, was much more involved with digital media and the Internet, from both the creative and entrepreneurial side. So I worked for quite a number of different companies in different sectors, from film and urban wineries, but to, as you know, to J.P. Morgan, where I did strategic planning for urban environments and housing for a whole variety of different companies in different ways. But it was just really my experiences dealing with my mother, frankly, and her requirements for home care that led me into getting into healthcare.
Okay, well, you also worked with the mayor of New York City, and tell us what you did there.
Well, I was director of New York City's energy office. It was actually I was a public affairs entrepreneur. It was during the time of the first oil crisis when Iraq went down, and the city, and like everywhere else in the country, was faced with sharply rising prices and shortages. And I came on as special assistant to Mayor Ed Koch at the time, which was a terrific experience working with him and the other people in that administration, and ended up founding and directing New York City's energy office, where I had about a $3 billion portfolio of energy projects, ran energy conservation, solar, cogeneration projects throughout the city, represented the city with rate cases, built a public utility sort of municipal network for getting low-cost power into New York City. So it was quite a wonderful experience, actually. You get a lot of responsibility pretty young when you do those kind of things.
That's quite a diversified background. What is eCaring doing?
eCaring basically is a transformative company to help lower health costs in America. We keep people out of the hospital and lower hospital use through the system we've developed.
How do you do it?
Well, what we've done is we realized that there's a tremendous treasure trove of information that lies with people who take care of people in the home aides, personal caregivers, etc. But that's an unmined treasure trove. No one was able to capture what sort of unstructured data and use that information to add to sort of the data that we get about home care in order to take better care of people. So eCaring's system, we invented really an icon-based language that uses symbols that enables home aides, caregivers, patients themselves to enter enormous amounts of information about the mental and physical state of patients, their clinical and vital signs, their behaviors, their adherence to medications or plans of care. And that information can be entered in real time on systems in the home, tablets, or computers, and then transmitted into the cloud, where care managers can respond immediately to trends or situations that are changing or situations that require immediate attention. And it's those early interventions that have enabled us to be successful in reducing emergency room visits, the use of hospital, length of stays in hospital, and all the ways in which you can cut costs for the costliest, neediest patients within the U.S. healthcare system.
Let's drill down into that. Cut costs. Let's start there. You finished with that. Let's start there. What are you experiencing there?
Well, we recently finished a program with a managed care, a trial program with a managed care organization in New York, where they were working with what are called dual eligible patients. These are Medicaid, Medicare recipients. And those patients using eCaring compared to the time before they were using eCaring, the same patients, they were able to reduce their medical expenses by over 25%, over $400 per patient per month. And that's been very consistent with all the programs we've done working with managed care patients. What was also interesting and kind of a new result for us, they reduced their hospital length of stay substantially, so that even if they had to go into the hospital, and often we prevent those hospital visits, but if they went into the hospital, their length of stay averaged between 2 and 3 days versus 9 days without using eCaring. The reason for that is because an early intervention can catch the situation before it deteriorates and becomes more serious, so that even if somebody goes into the hospital, then their stay there is much shorter. So these are tremendously positive results.
All right, cost. How does this? Who's paying for this? How does it get paid for? And
Sure, of course. That's the key with healthcare, right? Follow the trails of money, because what's happened in the U.S. healthcare system is there's been a huge shift from fee-for-service to capitated rates, fixed rates, where instead of paying for each individual item that a patient receives, an organization, the managed care organization, is given a fixed rate to take care of the total cost of that patient over the course of a month. So there's a tremendous incentive for those organizations to stay within that ceiling, because if they don't, that ceiling is going to crash down on them. So for managed care organizations, eCaring is a terrific system which they can use to cut those costs. I'll give you just a typical example. An 82-year-old woman is diabetic. Her blood sugar drops to 70. She's low income. Her typical response in that situation is to go to the emergency room, because low-income people tend to use the emergency room as their primary care physician. So with eCaring, what happens is the home aide enters that information of 70. Very easy tablet-based system using sliders and icons, so she can just do it very simply. You don't need to have a sophisticated Bluetooth-enabled internet device in the home in order to enter the information. You just need a scale or a glucometer to enter the basic data. That information is transmitted to a care manager who receives that as an alert. It's flagged within our system, and the care manager will get it either as an email or a text message. And within a minute or two, she can be responding back into that home. What's going on? Blood sugar is dropped. Patient is in shock. She's also very anxious, wants to go to the ER. Care manager can say, look, drink a glass of orange juice. Sometimes it's just that simple. Or it's take a particular medication, pay attention to a particular behavior. Within half an hour, blood sugar's gone up to 106. Patient is back in stable condition, and you've avoided a $2,500 emergency room visit, plus an ambulance, plus the 1 in 6 chance that any emergency room visit will end up as a hospital visit. So you get tremendous cost savings systemically by using the system.
Well, I'll say, and convenience.
Well, you're able to keep people in their home. This is where they want to stay. And if anybody out there has ever taken care of a loved one, they know how much their parents or grandparents want to remain in their home. It's the place they're most comfortable with and where they do the best. And so this allows, you can call it aging in place, whatever you want to call it. It's a way in which you can let people live longer in their homes in greater comfort.
And is this more acceptable? The earlier adopters are more in the urban areas versus the rural areas? I mean, where are you finding the greatest receptivity?
Yeah, our experience is frankly, we're New York-based.
Right.
So a lot of our experience is in the New York area, which has, of course, a tremendous concentration of Medicaid, Medicare patients, as well as low-income and just people in need. But for the elderly, the chronically ill, anywhere, this is a valid system. So we've just started expanding outside of this area to other parts of the country in order to provide the same system. And I'm happy to say we've just signed a number of partnership agreements with very large providers, both in the tablet and telecom space, so that we can scale nationally in order to provide these services.
I would think that some of the insurance companies would be looking, knocking on your door to be able to make introductions to the people they're already doing business with.
Sure. Well, one of our current clients in New York is Health First, which is a 1 million-member insurance company. And we are starting to install with them in a major program training care managers, 600 aides, 60 care managers to bring this system to a lot of their patients in order to start getting these kind of benefits. Because, again, they're under a lot of pressure to contain costs. And there are a lot of sort of there are people developing tech-savvy apps for people who know how to have smartphones and know how to use the internet and so on. But if you really want to cut the costs of the neediest, costliest people in the healthcare system, a lot of those people, they don't have broadband connections in their home. They don't have internet access. The home aides often aren't literate in computers or even have English as their first language. So you have to design a system that's oriented to the practical realities of the market that you're in, the people that you're dealing with. And that's, I think, what eCaring has done so wonderfully well. We've designed the system with the users in mind. So whether it's the home aide or the care manager or the patient themselves, it's intuitive, easy to use, fast to learn, rapidly scalable. So it can be disseminated very, very quickly. So for large insurance companies, as you're saying, or large plans or payers who have a lot of patients in these categories, we can easily get this out into their patient populations in order to contain the costs and really enhance the care for those people.
Wow. Well, what a great product that you have there. I want to drill down more into that, but we have to go to a break right now.
Sure.
But before we go, website eCaring.com. Did I get that correct?
Yes, you did.
All right, great. Robert, thanks so much. We'll be right back on the other side of this break.
Okay.
Robert Herzog, CEO, eCaring Inc., saving you money, might even save your life, or that of a loved one. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. James, founder of Diamond Physicians, a concierge medicine practice located in Dallas, Texas. Our Diamond 360 Advanced Physical Exam has been created for people like you who live a high-stress, fast-paced life. Every 40 seconds, someone in the U.S. experiences a life-changing heart attack or debilitating stroke. Negative stress tests and normal cholesterol levels do not exclude you. Half of all fatal heart attacks occur without warning. Diamond goes beyond traditional medicine with the Diamond 360 Advanced Physical Exam, proven to prevent heart attacks, strokes, and diabetes. Contact Diamond now at 214-395-3491. That's 214-395-3491. Or visit our website at diamondphysicians.com to take the Diamond Challenge. If your Diamond 360 reveals perfect health, receive a full refund. Your loved ones will thank you.
I'm Lex Friedman. I run my own business, so I know from experience, hiring new employees can be tough. Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 50-plus job sites, including social networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. And with ZipRecruiter's premium traffic boost, you can get up to 3 times more candidates. Quickly screen applicants, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 200,000 businesses. Right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. Plus, get 30% off your first traffic boost by going to ZipRecruiter.com/info. That's ZipRecruiter.com/info. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/info.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack, when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $10. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 7711 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 7711.
BTJ Consulting was founded specifically to consult with accredited investors on how best to manage their oil and gas investments. The emphasis is not only on direct participation in drilling projects, but includes opportunities in the purchasing of oil rigs, service and equipment companies, real estate and/or the purchase of royalty interest through lease pooling, This strategy further mitigates risk and spreads their clients' investments over the entire sector whenever possible. For more information, call 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. That's 469-518-5008 or info@btjconsulting.com. And tell them Yorba sent you.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. Michael Yorba, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM iHeart Media Studios and worldwide through yorbamedia.com. All right, we're talking with Robert Herzog, CEO, eCaring, Inc., and eCaring.com is the website. Robert, when we left off, we're talking about eCaring, how it helps people, and how you can really get instantaneous results on your system. I wanted to see if we can find out about the customizable part of it, because there's more to what this technology can do than just telling somebody to drink some orange juice. I mean, I would think that this would be really prolific in the psychological side, where you've got veterans with PTSD and things of that nature. It's bigger than just take an aspirin, take some orange juice. I mean, this can really, really, really save some people's lives. Can we go into that?
Sure, very much so. Essentially, when we work with organizations, we present them with, if you like, a menu of data points, of icons that they can use to obtain information about their patient populations. So the system is customizable and configurable by population, by condition, by disease, and by individual. So, for example, we have a terrific program for patients with congestive heart failure. And we worked with Beth Israel Medical Center in New York City and reduced their readmission rate, people's 30-day rate for coming back into the hospital after they've been discharged from the hospital, by over 60%. And we're developing systems like that for COPD and diabetes as well. And you're absolutely correct that for behavioral health issues, such as around PTSD or TBI, it's an ideal system in which to gain information rapidly from people who are stressed and in need, so that they can be reporting either directly themselves or with home aides or family and friends, caregivers, so that people who can review this information and say, wait a minute, there's a trend happening here. Someone's stopping to take their medications. Somebody's weight is, they're putting on weight and they're at risk for another heart episode. Their blood sugar has spiked. If any of those kinds of things can happen. Or they show the symptoms of being depressed, because if you're depressed, then you don't take your insulin, and if you don't take your insulin, you get more depressed. Or if you have PTSD, you start exhibiting behaviors, of isolation, say, which can lead to further problems, both physical as well as mental. So with all these kinds of things, you can use eCaring to be picking up this information immediately out of the home, whether it's reported by aides, caregivers, or the patients themselves, and then analyze that information. We have sort of algorithms that develop alerts to alert any member of a care team, whether it's a primary physician, a care manager in a managed care organization, or other family members. Something needs immediate attention. And if you can intervene early, then you can keep serious problems from occurring. You can prevent them from happening in the first place. At eCaring, we say the best way to deal with a crisis is to avoid it in the first place. And that's what the system can do across the spectrum of these kinds of conditions.
All right. Now, you'd mentioned somebody in the house, the patient themselves, whether it's a family member reporting. How is the information gotten to the point where it actually hits an alert, and how does that alert trigger responses? This is interesting for me on this.
Sure. Well, you've got a whole set of data. A lot of the patients that we deal with are, as I mentioned, low income. So we provide them with the tablet and with the cellular data connectivity, because often that's the only internet-connected device in the home.
Okay.
And with that information, a person is entering information, whether it's the home aide, a caregiver, or the patient themselves. Basically, they hit icons which transmit either about their mental or physical state, the behaviors they're doing, how they're sleeping, are they taking their medications, how are they eating, what's their mental state in terms of their mood, are they content, withdrawn, isolated, angry. They can do all these different kinds of things, enter that information, and then somebody can look at that information And we have these preset algorithms that say, okay, this is out of range. Somebody's put on 2 pounds in the last 24 hours. Somebody's been confused or agitated or combative or depressed, and that's been reported 2-3 times in the last 24 or 48 hours. Somebody's blood sugar has gone over 300, and that's happened immediately. You want to know about that right away. And when you enter that kind of information, and now you have a responsible party, a care manager or another family member, looking at that, they can say, we've got to get in there now. We've got to make some changes now, because if we don't, the situation is going to deteriorate and get worse. So you have this tremendously easy, intuitive use system. We train many aides and care managers in using this. It's a matter of minutes. And then they have a system that's rapidly implementable within the home to get the information out to the other people on a care team to take care of that person when they need it right away.
All right. What about your company from an investor point of view? I mean, that is great stuff, because you can get action quickly if you're really the patient. But let's talk about the investment side of this.
Sure.
This is a worldwide need that you're finding a solution for. Where are we on that side? For the investors that are listening.
Well, to give you a sense of the scale, we save, say, dual-eligible Medicaid, Medicare patients over $4,000 per person per year in terms of their costs. In addition, we reduce the time that they spend in the hospital. So that's a huge savings. There are 9 million dual-eligibles in the United States. So you've got an average organization, say, which takes care of 5,000 dual eligibles, could save about $20 million a year using eCaring, and we provide a better than 25% return on investment. There are 5,000 hospitals in the United States, over 2,000 of which are penalized for early admissions for things like congestive heart failure. And they're penalized millions of dollars a year, and we can help save that. So you have these very, very big markets. In addition, frankly, to the general home care population, there are 12 million paid home care situations in the United States, and home aides are one of the fastest growing jobs in the U.S., and even then there are shortages for them. So you have to be able to make people in the home, whether it's the home aide or the patient, be able to do more, push more functionality down to those people, because otherwise the system is going to be overwhelmed. It's an increasingly elderly population, as you know, that's growing rapidly, and there are a lot of chronic conditions that come along, both with the elderly and other chronically ill. So for us, these markets are very, very large. We've been happy and fortunate that all of the programs that we've done have worked well, have generated these kind of savings, and that's been with hospitals, with insurance companies, with managed care organizations. And we're now, as I mentioned, expanding outside of the New York area because of the partnerships we have enabling us to do that. So we're scalable. And the system, because we use icons, it's inherently multilingual. So we're able to use this. We have help text translations in 7 languages, including Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Tagalog, French. So we're able to rapidly expand into different populations so that a caregiver whose primary language is Spanish or Chinese or Russian is able to use the system immediately. So for us, the markets are very, very large, and we really look to be transformative. We think we can save, the Medicaid, Medicare populations thousands of dollars per year for millions of patients. And then you have all the private insurers and hospitals for whom there are other kinds of savings opportunities that are available.
I would imagine that the technology companies, the people that produce tablets, Apple, Android, so on, would be all over you to be the provider of the tablet.
We are about to announce, I can't tell you yet, a major partnership with one of the major tablet manufacturers, really a major electronics company with tablets that we're going to be doing sponsorships, case studies, participating in events and marketing and sales. So you're absolutely right. It's a very beneficial program. But the key really, it's using technology for a purpose, and the purpose is that every week eCaring keeps people out of the hospital. We feel very good about that because it's a system that really works, and the cost savings are great. The impact on people's lives are even greater.
Okay, so you're cutting edge with technology to get the information, and you've also got just a huge, massive market around the world. And then, just to think about this on the other end of the spectrum, because people look at this from as many facets as they can, you got a massive data mining operation going on that is just a boom for anybody that wants to get in on this one.
There's never been a source of data like this from the home. We generate between 500 and 1,000 data points per patient per month. Well, that is a lot of data. So the algorithms we have filter that down into 2 to 3 alerts or notifications or notes per patient per month. So it's very manageable for the care manager. And it's very important that you have to design systems to fit into the workflow, whether it's the home aide or the care manager. Everybody in healthcare is stressed because of these changes brought on by the Affordable Care Act and by this movement towards managed care and capitated rates away from fee-for-service. So you have to understand and even use systems like eCaring as learning moments to train the people involved, the care managers, the care providers, the plans themselves, in how to adapt to these new circumstances. But you're absolutely correct. This is a new source of big data for healthcare. And we expect to do data mining so that you can establish, what are the normative, typical, and then aberrational patterns for that 82-year-old diabetic woman, and the millions like her around the country and the world. So
yeah.
It's a great source of data.
Tell me about the research companies will be coming to you in droves trying to have access Lisa's data so they can just, at the very least, do their research on new drugs.
Yeah, we have hundreds of thousands of data points already, and it's early days for us. So I agree with you. It's going to be a great source of information for people and revenue for the company.
It will. I can tell this is going to be just a home run for it. All right, we got to go, but Robert, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
Mine too. Robert Herzog, CEO, eCaring, eCaring.com. On the other side of this break, we're going to speak with Jason Rowe, CEO, founder, Spot Price, Inc. This guy flew in from California just to be in the studio. I'm so proud. All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break.